All right, gentlemen, yesterday we saw Ben Simmons come in and still looks like Ben Simmons. I know Steve Nash said I'm rusty, or he's rusty, and I know he fouled out, but I do want to give a shout out. We're going to talk a little bit about the Pels too, with Zion back and healthy. Drops 25 and 9, looks good, while Ben Simmons, who just cries about everything. Ben Simmons is like the Bubba Wallace of the NBA and back and forth. Did you see that Bubba Wallace interview after the
what did he say?
After the crash, and he said that he didn't do it on purpose. He didn't wreck Kyle Larson on purpose. Like, he's like, the steering broke. Like, come on, man. Like, come on. You kamikazed him. You kamikazed him.
Yep.
You went World War II on him. You kamikazed him. And then you got mad at the reporter saying that he was fishing. Because he asked, he's like, was that retaliation? He's like, don't fish. Don't be fishing. It's like, number one, that's a reporter's job, is to fish out answers from important people in the sport. Man, I just legitimately do not like Ben Simmons. I just don't like him.
I couldn't tell, to be honest.
I just don't like him. Blaine loves
what?
Blaine loves Ben Simmons.
See, like, I don't know why you do this.
Blaine
I don't know
loves
why you do this.
Ben
It's
Simmons.
just immediately jumps to just the most.
Well, you said
I say Ben Simmons is a good basketball player. I mean, he's won Defensive Player of the Year once, twice. Like
when?
Like a couple years ago.
Yeah, and he has just done nothing since. His back's been
play last
hurt.
year.
His feelings have been hurt. You know, it's just, at the end of the day, I mean, we make fun of Kyler
Doesn't
Murray.
make him a bad basketball.
We make fun of Kyler Murray for playing Xbox and doing that stuff all the time, but Ben Simmons spent last year getting paid to just sit there and play Xbox.
Well,
That's all he did.
That doesn't make him a bad basketball player.
I don't think he's a good basketball player. I don't think
Is he good?
He looked great last night.
I mean,
man, he looked great last night.
the first time he's played, I mean, what he's finished 6-6-6. Like,
Yeah, and he fouled out.
it's his first game back after a year, man.
Well, my thing is, how long has he played basketball?
But still, you still have to get back into the game flow of things in the NBA. How can you really get back to where you need to be by playing, not practicing?
Well, it's not like he played 7 years ago. It's not like he's coming out of retirement.
So a year's
like
a long
Michael Jordan.
time.
Well, we'll see. Ben Simmons is trash.
Y'all watch basketball last night?
I watched a little bit of it. I wanted to see how the Nets looked with KD.
Yeah.
Mid. Again, look at New York. The Knicks lost. The Nets lost. Long way to go. But the Jets and the Giants, man. Syracuse, Bills, New York's football state. Tom Luginbill joins to break down the college football landscape. We'll preview tonight's matchup between the Saints and Cardinals, and the Astros beat the Yankees in Game 1 of the ALCS. I'm Jake Crane. It's Thursday, and welcome to Crane & Company. If you look at the Arizona Cardinals' record right now, sitting at 2-4 and last in the NFC West, you would think it would be all doom and gloom for the whole organization. But this week, they've been all smiles. And you may ask why? Because Hollywood Brown is out for at least a month? No. Stud running back James Conner's been hurt, and the Cardinals' offense hasn't been clicking. So why would they be excited? Well, they're getting back the biggest piece they have outside of Kyler Murray and star wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. Now, Hopkins was suspended the first 6 games of the year for violating the league's performance-enhancing drug policy, and he left the Cardinals with a lack of playmakers this far. But getting him back now opens up the offense in more ways than imaginable. He's a deep threat that turns 50-50 balls into 70-30 or 80-20 balls. He makes the easy catches easy and the hard catches easy. He's a reliable target on third down and can alleviate some of the glaring red zone issues the Birds have had up to this point. But his biggest contribution is one that takes place pre-snap. As an offensive play caller, you know the defense is going to be built around shutting him down, which is going to make life a whole hell of a lot easier on receivers like Rondale Moore and tight end Zach Ertz. It also helps the running game tremendously. Safeties and linebackers that have been flying downhill because they aren't afraid of the play action are going to be a little bit slower. And you know who's going to get doubled on the outside on big play downs. It provides Cliff Kingsbury with clarity and clairvoyance. If I know how you are playing me, then I know how I'm playing you. Hopkins also brings a much-needed positive jolt to the locker room amid an offseason that saw turmoil over Kyler Murray's contract clauses, and they've gotten off to a bad start on the field. I'd be willing to bet practice has been a little bit crisper this week. The water's tasted a little bit better, and the sun has shone a little bit brighter. The Cardinals have their big weapon back, and you'll see the ripple effect from here on out. Now, the only thing that'll make them even better is if Kyler Murray's mom threw his Xbox away. But that isn't happening anytime soon because the new Call of Duty is going to drop here very shortly. I'm going to bring in co-host, former Heisman candidate, mind of a scientist, arm of a Greek god, David Cohn. My brother, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver. He's got more mitts than Rawlings. His brain works good. Guys.
Sometimes.
Your brain works good,
Your
man.
brain works
Real
good.
Yeah,
his brain works good. Guys, I'm really excited about this Monday Night Football game. I know people say, oh, well, Thursday night.
Let's get to the weekend first.
Yeah, I know.
I don't need another Monday already.
That's exactly right. I'm excited about this game, and people will say, oh, well, the Saints, the quarterback situation, we know it's a disaster. Taysom Hill's kind of alleviated some of that, but I am so excited to watch Alvin Kamara be just absolutely followed and trailed by Budda Baker this whole game. The game's for the Saints, is gonna come down to Alvin Kamara. All right, but outside of that matchup, getting DeAndre Hopkins back, Cone, you were a quarterback at a very high level. Can you just talk about just the confidence it gives Kyler Murray knowing that DeAndre Hopkins is out there? It's like wearing a parachute on an airplane. I'm not worried as much as I was when I didn't have one.
Man, anytime you know you have a playmaker on the outside, someone you can throw the football to on 3rd and 7, who can go get you a first down, someone who's sure-handed, it just allows a quarterback to be so confident in the pocket. And I'm looking at DeAndre Hopkins' stats here. I know that he was banged up last year, had to miss some games, but in his 9 seasons in the league, he's had 6 with over 1,100 yards wide receiver. So we know how great he is. Blaine, you were saying you think he's a top 2 wide receiver in the league, maybe top 3 wide receiver in the league. Here's my problem with the Cardinals. I know you get back a great weapon, but they haven't had a track record of finishing late in the season the last couple of years under Cliff Kingsbury. 2020 Cardinals started 5-2. Finished 3-6. 2021 Cardinals started 7-0. They finished 4-6. They were bounced in the wild card round. So when I'm looking at the Cardinals' schedule here, the Saints tonight, that's a winnable game, obviously. But they're in a division right now where the Rams aren't even playing good, and the Rams already have a victory over them. You're going to see the Rams again. The Seahawks already have a win over the Cardinals. You're going to get the Seahawks again. You're going to get the 49ers twice. You're going to get the Patriots, the Chargers, a Falcons team that's not playing bad, a Bucs team. So I don't know if we're looking at a Cardinals playoff team right now.
Yeah, well, I wonder if this may be kind of a blessing in disguise that you are getting Hop at this time to try and change that narrative. We talked about that's been the biggest deal for Cliff Kingsbury, the head coach of the Cardinals, is his teams fall off a cliff halfway through the season. And that's something we talk about adjustments at halftime, right? Like last night, you look at Georgia State, they go up 14-0, they're up 14-7 at halftime. They come back out at halftime and App State whoops their ass the second, the third and fourth quarter. It wasn't a huge adjustment they had to make. Just run the ball more. Stop
I don't think they threw a ball in the second.
Yeah, stop throwing the ball deep. It kept blowing my mind. Poor Billy Lucci, I'm watching the game. I don't mean to digress here, but I'm like, I can't believe App State's play calling. It's shocking. They're throwing deep balls, no quick game, not really pounding the rock with Cam Peoples, who's healthy now, and Billy Lucci just hit him with the shaking my head thing. Why couldn't they have done that against A&M? Instead, they ran the ball 800 times and controlled the clock. But Blaine, I have Kyler Murray on my fantasy team.
You do.
You have DeAndre Hopkins on your fantasy team.
Finally.
How awesome would it be if Hop just got down to the one a lot, big plays, get down to the one, Kyler, let's run it in.
No, not awesome. I wouldn't like that at all. I need Hop to outscore Kyler Murray today. That's what I need, which can happen, which is plausible. Hop's done it plenty of times. I mean, you can say he's a top 3 receiver, a top 2 receiver. There's arguments, really. You can put him as the top 1 receiver with Cooper Kupp. This guy, is like, if you could build a receiver, all right, if you could go in the lab, great hands, over 6 feet, great, can run every route in the book, one-on-one ball, cookies, it's mine every time. Playing balls in the air, absolute savant.
Blocking.
This guy, and the kind of what the Cardinals were missing last year was one more piece. One more piece on the outside because they're on Hop. You got bracketed mostly every game, mostly every play. But now who they go get? Hollywood Brown. Who's hurt right now? I understand that. But Hollywood can also do what? Take the top off. And I know right now you'd rather not be. I think they're 2-4 right now. You really would want to split without Hopkins because he's a franchise guy. So now we'll see Kyler kind of get into it because Kyler will feed DeAndre Hopkins the ball. He did it last year, and Kyler will stay doing that. Now we'll get to see the real Cardinals.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson, do we feel like maybe he may just be a decoy today? You're playing on a short week. You got him. How much are you going to use him? While Hollywood Brown's out, that's your deep threat guy. And I think there is some merit to when it goes down the way it did with Robbie Anderson and the Panthers, when you had the bad look on the sideline, you're trying to get back, and you kind of go twice as hard. So I'm very interested to see that dynamic when it comes to fruition as well. James Conner coming back. after being injured. So it seems like all the pieces are getting together for them to make a run, but we're going to see.
So you think Robbie Anderson will play, you think?
I'm not 100% sure on that. If this game was played on Sunday, no question in my mind. But since you're playing on Thursday and it's a short week, which, by the way, NFL teams are only averaging 36.7 total points per game on Thursday, which is just gross. I think there's a couple reasons for that. It is a short week. You really have to simplify everything. You don't have as much time to put together a brand new game plan and put in new plays and do things like that. You're really taking what you've done, maybe add a couple wrinkles off something you've done so it's easier to digest. But I think you're going to see somewhat of a vanilla game plan a little bit from both teams. I mean, the Saints don't really have a quarterback right now, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's a bad situation. Michael Thomas is still out.
Michael Thomas is, I know Olave's coming back after getting knocked out.
Olave's coming back.
Lattimore's out.
As a wide receiver, when it comes to DeAndre Hopkins, being a top 20 wide receiver is hard enough. Being top 5, it's like that extra little bit. What intangibles make him so special to you?
One, his hands. I think he has the best hands in the league. Two, the way his feel as a receiver when it comes to option routes, sitting in zones. I mean, the dude's an absolute witch at that. And he just has the entire, he checks all the boxes for a receiver in the NFL. He can win the one-on-one routes. That's short, intermediate, deep. He can go up and get it when you get in the 20, you get in the red zone. He can turn on the burners. He has lost a little speed in the years. That just happens with time. But he's every bit of Larry Fitzgerald.
I was just about to say that.
He's every bit of Larry Fitzgerald.
Just about to say that.
You can go give him 15 targets, he'll catch 12.
And Kyler's the type of guy who he'll break the pocket sometimes. I mean, he'll scramble around. And how great is it to look down the field and see, there's DeAndre Hopkins, there's one other guy. Well, it's not 50-50. It's almost 75%.
Well, when you look at Hopkins physically, and we'll move on after this, but when you look at Hopkins physically, he doesn't look like Julio Jones. He doesn't look like DK Metcalf. He doesn't look like Calvin Johnson. He's athletic and physical enough. Like Blaine said, he's got some of the strongest hands out there. He catches the ball away from his body, and his range is unbelievable. His catch radius is unbelievable, very similar to Larry Fitzgerald. But the most dangerous part about DeAndre Hopkins is his mind. He understands nuance, like Blaine said. He knows what he's looking at. There's not a coverage. There's not a leverage. Whether it's press, whether they're backed off, he has an answer for everything. And as a guy that coached DBs, that's what scares me the most. There's nothing you can throw at him, even if you wanted to bracket him, if you want to get into two-man and shade him with the safety and do all that stuff, it's great. He still finds a way. And if he's not finding a way, he's alleviating the pressure of double teams and taking the mind of the defenders to him and off Rondale Moore and off Zach Ertz and off Dortch and off the guys out there trying to make plays. So that to me is the most dangerous part. We're going to get to the Booster Club, but speaking about dangerous, if you're not downloading the DraftKings Sportsbook app, you're putting yourself in danger because it's the best one out there, all right? It's the most popular sportsbook in the world, and if you use our promo code BOOSTER, that's BOOSTER, it's Halloween, boo, it's easy. Make any $5 bet this week, and you get $200 in free bets. We are giving you free money. Think about how you can fill your gas tank up.
Boom.
Probably once. But it's free. So make sure you download the DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code BOOSTER. Remember, minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. Make sure you see show notes for details. And the NBA's back, guys.
I think we have some winners up here tonight, boys.
Yeah, I think we have some winners up here tonight. I mean, the NBA is back cooking. You had Zion come back last night. NHL, college football. And it's the best time to bet. It's the best time to bet right now. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Because remember, if you're not first or last, and if you're not downloading DraftKings, you're definitely second at best. So, be better. We're trying to make everybody better here. Speaking about making everybody better, Blaine, what's going on in the Club Daily
Booster Club, what is up? Happy Thursday. Let's go to Carl Dunn, a $5 donation.
Oh,
what's
hit
up,
that
Carl?
David.
He said, if the Saints don't win, season is done, and who dat? I wouldn't say your season's done.
You're going to get guys back healthy. I mean, you look at the halfway mark, around that 8-9 game mark. There's always time for one big reset. You don't want two big resets. The Saints, just like the Bucks, and just like the Chargers, and just like the Cowboys, and it seems to me there's always injuries in the NFL, but does it seem that at the quarterback position and at the most important positions early in this NFL season, we've had more injuries and more guys miss games than I can remember? I mean, it just seems like regardless of who you're looking at, you're the walking wounded at very important positions. It is truly a battle of attrition early on. I wouldn't count the Saints out yet, but it has not been a smooth start for Dennis Allen. Some of that stuff he can control, some he can't.
And regardless of the roughing the passer calls. Who would have
Regardless.
thought? It's still a physical game.
Yeah, who would have known?
I mean, you look at the Saints right here, 2-4 already, just like we were talking about with the Cardinals, and you're still going to have the Ravens, the Rams, the 49ers, the Bucks, the Eagles. I mean, right now, do the Saints and the Cardinals, either one make the playoffs?
I think the Cardinals make the playoffs.
Cardinals, Saints, no. Blaine?
I would lean Cardinals before I lean Saints.
Okay.
Because, I mean, the Cardinals have what? An established quarterback. And Jameis. I mean, you never know with Jameis.
Well, think about it. You got Hop coming back. You've got Hollywood Brown that will be coming back. James Conner is coming back. When all the pieces are on the field for the Cardinals, I know the defense isn't outstanding. All right, I know they've lost a lot of pieces. You look at Chandler Jones, losing him was a big piece. He's over there just absolutely balling out, for the Raiders. So I think the Cardinals, with all their pieces, are just more dangerous than the Saints. And I just don't trust Jameis to stay healthy.
Yeah. I mean, even with Jameis, it was already a question mark. It wasn't a guarantee.
Well, Michael Thomas is the Anthony Davis of the NFL, so.
That is true. That is true. And another guy, big body guy who reminds me a lot, you're talking about a Larry Fitzgerald type, a big guy who has great hands, big target, catch radius, but.
Oh, when he's on the field, he's a monster. But I mean, he just, he's beat up all the time, and it's unfortunate.
All right, let's go to Emmanuel C with a $7.70.
Ooh, triple sevens?
The triple lottery
action? It's spooky.
Man, he'd use promo code Booster.
Who is your 4 non-QB Heisman finalists so far?
The what?
Who's your 4 non-QB Heisman finalists so far? That's tough.
You know what? You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say Chase Brown from Illinois.
Really?
Look at those
I like
numbers.
it, yeah.
Dude's balling. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs' numbers are off the chart.
Go ahead. Throw my boy in there. Throw Blake
Let's go Blake Corum. I mean, that one's easy. I would say the fourth, looking around the country, I'm trying to think of a defensive player as a defensive guy. I would love to say Will Anderson, but he hasn't had the year that a lot of people are thinking that he's having. I would say when you're looking out at the wide receiver position, at Clemson, you can't throw Shipley in there at running back. Blaine, who would be your fourth? Just looking around the country. I mean, staying in the SEC, you're looking out west. How about Zach Charbonnet?
What about Hyatt from Tennessee?
I mean, he had one huge game.
How about
Bijan?
How about Bijan Robinson, though?
Bijan's in there. You're looking most likely at running back, but I tell you, man, the more I watch Charbonnet, I'm really leaning UCLA money line.
I love Charbonnet.
I am really leaning UCLA money line this weekend because of the physicality, something that we've talked about, which is just weird when that comes out of my mouth with UCLA.
So when it comes to running back Heismans, let's say that Jahmyr Gibbs or the kid from Illinois, let's say they rush for more yards and have more touchdowns than Blake Corum. But Blake Corum's right behind in both categories, or even Charbonnet, right there behind in both categories. But they end up winning out and have a better season and make the playoffs when those other two teams don't. How do you grade running back Heisman votes when it comes to something like that?
I think that would mean that Corum then would have more Heisman moments. I would think it would put him in a position where if the numbers are even close and you're doing it in big games on the biggest stage, you just have more opportunities. You're going to be out in front of the spotlight more. Now all of a sudden that 40-yard run for a touchdown in the fourth quarter to ice the game might as well be a 99-yard touchdown run in the eyes of the Heisman voters. So I think it's just simple math. We talk about gravity, right, over time. The more opportunities that they get, it's just like Hendon Hooker. You look at
that's what I was going to say.
Stroud.
That's the thing.
You look at how many more opportunities Hendon Hooker is going to have in the regular season, even with both teams going undefeated. That's not even saying that one team has a loss in the playoffs. So it's about opportunities. I would think Blake would have the best chance to win out of that.
That's how I feel about Hendon Hooker. Quarterbacks in the country are going to throw for more yards than Hendon Hooker. They're going to have more touchdowns. But he's going to have enough where if he can keep winning big football games, he's going to be right there in the conversation.
Yeah, moments outweigh yards.
Sure.
When it comes.
All right, let's go to Josh Reagan, #AskCrane&Company. What's up, Josh? He says, Brady looks mid, Aaron looks mid. Who's each of your NFL MVPs so far this season?
Look, Josh Allen's the easy answer here. To me, I mean, you look at them going after the tough game in Miami, the whole situation with Tua, them going into Kansas City after the way they lost in the playoffs last year. Josh Allen really directing that offense. And look, is he going to have a great of a year as he had last year? I'm not sure. We'll see. They're going to go bonkers at some point. But just watching him and what he brings to the game, trying to figure out ways to defend that guy while he can punish you in the run game and stay in the whole game. You know what he reminds me of? Josh Allen reminds me of how Derrick Henry kind of looked in college, but in the NFL. It's just different. He's just a dinosaur, man.
It's funny
He's
you say Derrick
huge.
Henry because that's the name I was thinking about.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at some of these running backs: Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley putting up big
Titans
numbers.
are in the lead
Nick
with the
Chubb,
Colts in the,
you know, like
AFC South.
some guys like that maybe in the MVP conversation. As far as Aaron Rodgers being mid, man, when I turn on the film, I'm like, he's still putting the ball wherever he wants. He's
Yeah.
the most accurate passer in
He's
history.
got nobody. He's throwing to nobody, David.
I get so torn on Aaron Rodgers because I'm like, man, he has all the skill sets anybody would ever want at the quarterback position. At any moment, he can put the football
get
wherever he
OBJ.
wants. He doesn't have great weapons, but it's not just not having weapons. He's always doing something silly. He'll do something, you know, whether it be on the field or off the field.
Again, the NFL, one man cannot win the game. Like, you have to have pieces. I mean, look at the Bucs too. Not sitting here trying to make excuses for everybody, and Tom is getting older, but I mean, Evans is beat up. Godwin was beat up. I mean, they're the walking wounded the first couple weeks. The offensive line before the season, it was like every offensive lineman they had was going down every other day. I mean, Wirfs and guys like that. So I think when you're looking at the quarterback position, you have to factor in everything. And because they're not winning, and we're used to seeing them winning, and we're used to seeing them being the main reason, not the only reason, but the main reason why the teams were winning, I think that's why it's kind of come off as, man, Aaron Rodgers isn't any good anymore. Tom Brady isn't any good anymore. You're only as good as the weapons on the outside. You're only as good as the offensive line. You're only as good as the run game that allows you the play action, that allows you the quick game, the intermediate game, and eventually the vertical shot.
That's such a good point because if Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady both had the same stats right now, but both teams were undefeated, we wouldn't be calling them mid.
No, we would say
they're
who's
known
the
as
MVP?
winners, and we'd be saying, oh, well, they found a way to win even without their weapons or without throwing for a bunch of yards. But you combine the lack of stats with losing some football games, and it's just not what we've grown accustomed to seeing from them.
It's the old double whammy.
All right, Ethan Williams, #fantasy question.
Oh,
Fantasy
wow.
football.
Yeah, it's just
Gal Gadot
exactly.
and
Dave. I have Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams on my roster. Should I trade Amon-Ra, aka the Sun God, while he's still hot before Jameson comes back and takes away some of his targets? I think when it comes down to trading, who are you getting?
Yeah, it's what is the market bearing? I just would have a hard time. It's not like they're going to go away from the Sun God once Jameson Williams gets back. I think he's going to be Coca-Cola and Jameson Williams will be Pepsi, and they'll work him in there.
I need DeAndre Swift to make Mountain Dew or something. Like I need
DeAndre Swift to not do
root beer.
anything.
He can be the root beer.
I had a solid root beer yesterday.
I need him to
not forget how good root beer is.
Root beer is so good.
So good.
Thank you. We'll hug it out later.
It's the best tasting beer. I'd probably say it's the best tasting beer. I need him to Mountain Dew nothing, though, tonight or on Sunday. Again, what is the market bear? I would not trade the Sun God. He does so much, whether it's jet sweeps in the red zone, third down, deep vertical shots. Hell, he'll probably throw a pass for it's said and done. So
I need to know your depth at receiver. All right, I need to know that, and I need to know what do you need?
Yeah.
If you have a lot of depth at receiver and you're kind of lacking at running back, what's the options? Who can we get? I mean, if you can get something tier 1 realistically for the Sun God, then I always think running backs are more important than receivers in fantasy. They are. The receiver, especially with all these rookies coming out and receiver just balling this year. I mean, Chris Olave, you could go down the list, but running backs are a rare breed in fantasy. If you can get a steady horse, every game, I would say get them. But it always comes down to your receiver depth. Let's go to Travis Elrod, #AskCrane&Company. What are the odds that Tom Brady retires after this season? I don't know, man. Him or Nick Saban. I don't know which one goes first.
Yeah, well, he needs to stop comparing football to the military, number one. Number two, I don't think I'm watching Tom Brady play, and if you really watch and you know what you're looking at, this is not all on Tom. It's not even close to all on Tom. I still think he's effective. I don't think he'll retire after this season. I think this season may be okay, may make the playoffs, sneak in there, maybe make a little bit of noise. You get those weapons back, you never know. Tom Brady gets hot and they make a run. I think there's a lot better chance of him coming back if they make a run toward the Super Bowl and don't get there, as opposed to him winning another Super Bowl. I think he would shut it down. I think he would absolutely shut it down. All right, Coney. Let's move on.
All right, you want some rapid fire here?
Let's get rapid.
Boys, Major League Baseball playoffs are on, so we have to talk about it. Astros 4-2 over the Yankees. Padres 8-5 over the Phillies to even that series.
Phillies jumped out on the Pods yesterday. It was a great game to watch. If you were able to watch the game and you were able to feel the flow of the game, Juan Soto getting up there and tying the game with that double really felt like it kind of unlocked the Padres. And they said, all right, Soto's contributing a little bit. Then you started to see kind of the ripple effect of the momentum, and all of a sudden you look up in the Pods who were down 4-2. All of a sudden they're up 8-4. I didn't think Nola pitched bad. I didn't think the off speed was working very well. That's the one thing he does a really good job of. That's the difference between him and Wheeler is Wheeler's going to go out there and just throw absolutely flames with some good breaking stuff. Austin Nola does a great job of changing speeds and giving you pitches that look similar, but they're different speeds. That's why you see so many swings and misses with Nola, who doesn't throw 103 miles per hour. But the Padres were able to find a way. They had to have that win, even though it's the NLCS and not the NLDS. The structure is a little bit different when it comes to game length of the series. This was huge for the Pods to get them back in it. But if you're the Phillies, look, you're 1-1. You played 2 games on the road. You're feeling good. You snatched. It's lining up just like it did last series. The question is, are you going to be able to recreate what you did at the end in a 7-game series? Now, when it comes to the Astros, they, to me, continue in that ballpark. I don't know if there is a team that is better suited to be in their own home ballpark than the Astros with the way they play. It's kind of a wonky park. The dimensions are a little bit weird. So from a fielding standpoint, it does give you an advantage. But it's basically a short porch in right or left. I mean, you saw balls last night that were hit, even from the Yankees side. But from the Astros side, I mean, look, you hit what? There was 5 solo home runs, I mean, in that game total. And the Astros were the ones that had most of them. It just seems to me like 1 through 9, starting with Altuve all the way down to the bottom, it's just those hitters fit that park. And I can sit here and look at stats and launch angle and stuff like that, but it's more of a feel. It's more of watching them, and you're like, man, I feel like there's just a huge home field advantage. I mean, Pena, a guy that took over for Correa, is an absolute stud. An absolute stud. They've done a great job, the Astros have, in that farm system, making moves too, grabbing guys, whether it's in the Rule 5, that were unprotected. They've just done a really, really good job. And then that pitching staff, Verlander, after struggling in his first game in the playoffs. I mean, guys, last night was the first postseason win for Justin Verlander since 2019.
Really?
When you see the amount of times the Astros have made the playoffs and how many times they go deep, that was a shocking number for me. Now, I know Verlander's been hurt. I get that. But watching Justin, and I don't think Justin had his best stuff last night. I think he kind of powered through that one a little bit. I mean, guys, he had 60 pitches through 3 innings. That's a lot for Justin Verlander. Even for a strikeout pitcher that may go 2-2 and then sit you down with the slider. May go 3-2, blaze the high and tight fastball inside. But I'm telling you, man, the Astros, to me, feel like the team that's going to win the World Series.
Astros?
They just feel like the team.
Hate that. Don't like hearing that.
Fun stat here for you guys. Yesterday was the first time brother versus brother faced each other as hitter, as a pitcher and batter.
Fastball high and
in Major League Baseball postseason.
I'm backing you. I'm backing you off the plate quick.
Well, I'm not moving.
Yeah,
I'll catch you with my teeth.
You're gonna have to wear it.
I'll catch you with my teeth like Ace Ventura.
So wait, hold on. Who's throwing?
Enjoy the
throwing?
base. Enjoy the base. You're gonna catch me on the face for just a walk to first, and that's fine.
No, well, I'm on first in the playoffs.
Right. That's a double play.
Either that or I'll get out of the way. You won't do it twice.
Stop.
No, you won't do it twice.
Yes, I will.
No, you wouldn't.
I will hit you every time you come.
Because after the first time, I charged him out with the bat.
Go. You better bring the bat.
Oh, I'm gonna bring it.
You better bring the bat.
You better
I'm coming with the glove when you run up.
You're coming with the glove. Yeah, good luck.
A lot of hezies.
Good luck pitching with broken legs. You're gonna be like an Iranian blogger.
You gotta catch me first.
The regime.
Gotta catch me first. The thing about it.
Oh, you're running away?
I'm snaking.
You're running away?
You have a baseball bat.
Well, guess what? I'm the hitter and you're the pitcher,
I'm hitting a hard right. Someone's throwing me a bat out of the dugout. I'm catching it on the run. Next thing you know, I'm slide canceling to your shins.
No.
Wham. Right
I just
leg's
saw
gone.
the whole second act of Gladiator.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
No, then
Music's
Jose
playing,
Altuve's been hiding in your pocket the whole time, comes out, breaks your spine, you're paralyzed.
I had spider tack on my hand.
But we're still friends.
Swing the bat.
But we're still friends. I'll take.
I mean, I know you. I mean, you got Verlander on 45 pitches through 2 innings. I'm like, they're gonna have to go to the pen.
The Astros got the best bullpen though in Major League Baseball.
The Guardians had the best bullpen.
No.
Well, they're out now.
Yeah, no, I'm saying they had the best bullpen in Major League.
I don't believe that's true.
No, that's true.
The whole regular season, Dusty Baker was talking about their bullpen had the best ERA of any bullpen in Major League Baseball.
Look it up.
Somebody fact check that.
Let's go Booster Club. But one, you can't case 17 times. You can't go 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. It's split. You just want one right now.
Are they going to bounce back?
I mean, you got a money line, so let's hope so. But go win this one. I mean, let the big bat show up. I know it's tough to win in that ballpark.
It's so tough to win in that ballpark.
It's tough to win in that ballpark. So if we can split, I still feel good. I mean, they're number 1 and number 2. I mean, Verlander are kind of both better than our number 1.
You got Severino for the Yankees. You got Framber Valdez for the Astros. Valdez leads the Astros in strikeouts coming off. You know what happened yesterday? Severino against the Guardians. I think he went 6 innings, gave up 3 earned off 8 hits, something around there. I think the pitch and matchup favors the Astros again tonight. But when you have Aaron Judge and you have Giancarlo Stanton and you have Hercules and you have Blazer, Laser, Taser, and all sorts of Azers, you got a chance.
And White Goodman.
White Goodman
Was a valuable
course.
addition to that team. All right, Jermaine Burton, Alabama wide receiver, apparently struck a girl after the Tennessee game.
There's no apparently. It's on video. You'll see him. He's number 3 in the bottom right here. And we're going to react to this, but I want you to watch this video. You can see him pop her in the face. Now, it wasn't a UFC punch, but it doesn't matter. Let's play the clip. He's down in the bottom right here. You can see the girl walking in front, and he reaches his hand back and swipes her in the face. Okay, deliberately. She didn't walk into him, okay? I don't know if she said anything or whatever. I'm going to say this. It is dangerous for the players when people storm the field, okay, or storm the court. I feel like you shouldn't be allowed to storm the field or the court until the players are off.
I agree with that.
I feel like the players should leave, like in a game like this, like the referees do. You get off the field. But in no way, shape, or form should you ever as a man, put your hands on a woman unless you feel your life is threatened. Jermaine Burton should be charged. Jermaine Burton should be arrested. And in my opinion, you're a piece of trash. And if I'm Georgia, I am so glad you are not a part of my program. He hadn't done anything in Alabama anyway. I mean, we're through 8 weeks. The dude's got 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's the biggest thing we're talking about Jermaine Burton is how he hit a woman after the game. I know this is unacceptable from Nick Saban. I would not be surprised if he was kicked off the team because it's disgusting. And people who hit women and people who beat women and people who physically accost women, I don't care if it's after a game against Tennessee. I don't care if it's slapping them in the face or doing something you don't think is a big deal. It's disgusting. I think most of Alabama fans, I think the very rational part of them will agree with me on this. Jermaine Burton, you should be in jail. And he's lucky. He's lucky that a group of guys didn't see that. Or a group of Tennessee players didn't see that because they would have beat him to pieces. Because if you're going to hit a woman, you're not really about it. You're not really about it. And I've never met Jermaine Burton, but I never want to meet Jermaine Burton. It's disgusting. Throw his ass in jail. Get him off the team. I think you just ruined your career. But you know what? Guys who do this, we're probably going to do something else. And I'm all for second chances, but not for women beaters, not for people that beat up women. If it was a frat guy that went down there and got in your face and wanted to do something to you or called you something, I could understand it a little bit. Man versus man. I could understand it a little bit. Wouldn't condone it. Probably still would have gotten charged with something. But this is disgusting. Get that guy out of here. If I'm an NFL scout, Jim Nagy, a buddy of ours who runs the Senior Bowl, they're sending out invites now. I guarantee you Jermaine Burton may have just cost himself a chance of what he's been working his whole life for. But, I wish you would have done it. I wish you would have tried it against a man because it's disgusting. Take his ass to jail.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying, and I hate that the result of this when we see something like this will be, well, we can't storm the field anymore. I've been pro-field storming. That's what makes college football great, but let the other team get off the field first.
Yeah, you can have protocols and all this, but in no way.
Let the opponent get off the field, you go and celebrate after, and then I agree with everything you're saying.
And I don't care what she said. I don't care what she said. I don't care if it was a racial slur, if she said something about your mother or whatever. Unless you felt she was about to kill you with a gun or a knife. You are Division I football player. You are a grown man. There is no excuse. There is no reason. If she said something that was beyond the pale, that's her problem. That's a problem with her character. But there is no excuse for it. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody in the YouTube comments say that wants to defend him or whatever. There's no defense for it. Woman beaters should be in jail.
All right, NBA, Zion Williamson, 25 points, 9 rebounds last night as the Pelicans beat the Nets 130-108.
Yeah, guys, I was critical of Zion last year. I felt like he was a guy that came into the league and expected it to be handed to him. He's a guy that struggled a little bit with his weight and being in shape. And after watching the Pels last year with Ingram and then adding McCollum and the guys on that roster making the run they did, I was almost like, do you want this prima donna in here that you could go get 3 or 4 huge pieces to build around this core that made it to the playoffs and looked like they found an identity? And you guys pushed back. Blaine pushed back on it and said, I think you still give him a chance. I think you pay him that money. And they paid him a lot of money. Well, early on, and it is only the first game, Zion's had a habit of getting hurt early in the season, being out for a while, trying to come back, getting hurt again. We'll see. I don't want to go ahead and just write this in stone right now. But if Zion is able to cook like that, because this wasn't a bad basketball team they went and beat. Okay, this was the Nets with Kevin Durant. It's one of the greatest players in the world. Team, they got swept by the Celtics last year in the playoffs, but this is a team that can play really, really good basketball at a very, very high level. You went on the road game 1 and beat them with your star playing well and your supporting cast doing exactly what they had to do. There was no problems with McCollum or Zion. I'm really excited for the Pels, David.
Yep, I like it. All right. Blaine, Pelicans,
Yes.
Zion?
The truth. It's always been the truth.
Yeah.
I know he had injuries, but it's the NBA, and he did not. He looked the first time he walked in that gym, man, he looked a lot different than he did last year. Cut, chiseled a little bit. I mean, we got to think about this guy. He's supposed to be a generational player now. I mean, you're really not this big with the mass of a human like that who can jump out of the gym like that, who can run like that on a good basketball team like the Pelicans. They needed to pay the money to sign him. It was the right move. I'm glad they did. I mean, they made it deep in the playoffs last year. They're only probably going to make it deeper in the playoffs this year, adding a piece like that.
Yeah. Nice. All right, let's go to the Hawks real quick. Trae Young and DeJounte Murray combined for 43 points.
Yeah, what's so cool about this, we have a clip about 3 or 4 weeks ago of Trae Young talking about how excited he was to play with DeJounte Murray. Let's play this clip. It's going to make sense in a second. Let's go ahead and play it. God, Trae looks just like somebody off Lord of the Rings, man. It's unbelievable. Go and play the clip.
He's good at everything, like defense, scoring, passing, really rebounding, playmaking. I mean, he's really good at everything. So just having somebody, just as a competitor as I am in the backcourt with you, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to start playing.
You know, it's funny. Trae Young airballed his first shot by about 30 feet, and everybody kind of freaked out what it looked like. But you could see the graphic we have up here. Okay, Trae Young and DeJounte Murray are. Anytime there's a first in NBA history, it's important. They're the first pair of teammates in NBA history to record 20-plus points and 10-plus assists in their debut game together. And when you watch Trae Young talking about him, you know, we watch players and coaches and GMs get on there and use coach speak, right? Try and say all the right things, but they almost look dead inside, like they're reading from a prompter, like it's monotone. You could see in Trae Young's eyes how excited he was to play with DeJounte Murray. Mm-hmm. You could just feel it. And these guys are good enough to know. Trae knew not only was he a good player, but he's a great fit for the Hawks, who did have a big win last night, thanks to those two. I'm very excited to watch these two grow together. It's nice to see Trae with a guy that can kind of balance him out a little bit, because I feel like sometimes Trae tries to do too much because he feels like he has to do too much. And it's tough for a smaller guy to try and continue to do the things that Trae does, because he's physical when he attacks the rim. There is no punk in Trae Young. There's absolutely no punk in him. So it's good to see that DeJounte, a guy that was with the Spurs, we've seen him grow. I think it's just a really good pairing. You know, it's like a nice wine with a steak. It's just a good pairing. It just makes sense. They complement each other really well.
I like it. All right, last one. The Texans have fired their executive vice president of football operations, Jack Easterby. Seems like it's been a little while coming here now. He was hired in 2019, had some issues when he was with the Patriots as well, but they have now moved on.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't shocking. When you look at the Texans, I actually think Lovie Smith's done a pretty good job there so far, which I always laugh when we bring up the part about coaches and, you know, are they black or are they white? Well, you know, black coaches don't give a chance. Lovie Smith hasn't won anything as a head coach in the NFL, yet he continues to get jobs. So that's a narrative killer there. But the Texans are doing more with less than a lot of people in the league. I mean, you got Davis Mills at quarterback. Name 6 players off the Texans. I'll hang up and listen. I mean, it's just you're trying to set yourself up because
Davis Mills.
yeah,
Davis Mills, Damian Pierce,
Damian Pierce, Derek Stingley Jr.
Brandon Cooks.
yeah, and we do a sports show for a living. We can name 4 in about 20 seconds. I can give you longer names. So my point is this. The Texans, after, the Deshaun Watson stuff, and I think they're just done with the off-the-field stuff. I think they're just done. We know the story with Easterby, the Patriots, and all this. The Texans are trying to reset. I think they're trying to figure out kind of where their future's going to lay. Is Davis Mills a guy they're going to give a legitimate chance? Or do you try and make a move in the draft in a loaded quarterback class? Okay, last year, the wide receiver class was loaded. It's going to be pretty good again this year, but the quarterback class this year is really, really, really talented. And it's so much deeper than last year when you look at the guys that are going to be coming out, and they're different. It's
Nico Collins.
All you can throw and all you can throw and run buffet right now at the quarterback position.
God, doesn't Rex Burkhead play for the Texans?
Does
Rex
he?
Burkhead?
Rex Burkhead's played for
Rex
every
Burkhead
team.
plays for the Texans and an Alabama tight end.
O.J. Howard.
OJ the Juice Man.
It's not Herb Smith.
OJ the Juice Man.
Come on.
Nico Collins.
By the way, I've noticed something, and I'm pretty sure everybody has noticed this. Bama has to have a player on every NFL.
Oh, yeah. We gotta
They have to have a player on every NFL team. Reed, you want to know how my fiance, who's an Alabama fan, God bless her soul, how she cheers for NFL, or how she picks NFL when I let her do parlays? She asked me which players from Bama are on the team.
Not a bad strategy.
No, it's not a bad strategy at all. I'm like, well, that's basically how the GM thing works in the NFL. Like, legitimately, the Eagles were like, the Eagles sat down the meeting, and their GM's like, guys, listen, I have an idea. I just woke up in the middle of last night. What if we just put together Alabama and Georgia?
It's like, I'm drafting Kirby Smart.
Yeah, they're like, somebody in the room is like, Craig, that's the smartest thing I've ever heard. It's the smartest thing I've ever heard. Let's just put Alabama. It's like when the Power Rangers come together. It's like the Red Ranger and the Black Ranger and the Yellow Ranger and the Pink Ranger. They come together. Now it's just the Bama and Georgia Ranger coming together in Philadelphia, place that booed Santa Claus.
I love it. What about little Jordan Kilgo? $4.99.
Ooh.
It's Thursday night. It's Thirsty Thursday, girls.
Get me paid. Said, 1 cold soda on me, fellas. Happy Thursday. And war down.
Hey, appreciate that.
There we go.
And that does bring me to of course, I don't know how this happened. It manifests in the Booster Club.
It always manifests
So
in the
the
Booster
poll
Club.
is, what's the GOAT soda?
What's the GOAT soda?
Soda is GOAT. I can only do 3.
Nobody's going to.
Dr. Pepper, Coke, or Pepsi. I'm going to let y'all let that
You put
marinate.
Coke and Pepsi up there?
Look, I am at the hands of the Booster Club, okay?
Can we be honest? It's Sunkist.
Get out.
No.
It's not
Sunkist is the best soda.
It's not Sun.
Sunkist
It's
is the
not
best soda.
Sunkist.
It is Sunkist.
Sunkist is not bad, but it's definitely not the GOAT soda.
Y'all over here talking about root beer and Dr. Pepper. Ew.
First of all, we talked about root beer, all right? I'm not a huge Dr. Pepper guy. I did like the Dr. Pepper guy when it comes to football commercials. I
already know what the Booster
Cone's
Club's saying.
basically
I'm going to save it for
Dr.
my vote
Pepper.
at the end, but I know. I can feel it.
You know? Do you know, though?
Yeah.
Odds of us ever being in a Fansville commercial? We should reach out to Dr. Pepper being a Fansville.
NIL
I don't really know if I want to be.
NIL deal? Transfer portal?
Look, we could help with the end.
Let's go.
Like Blaine said, last year, the sad part was I was legitimately excited about the ending of the Fansville commercials last year, and it was a huge letdown. It was a huge letdown.
Yeah. There's a Fansville curse, isn't there? Last year, DJ Uunglele's in the commercials. Doesn't have a great year. Now Bryce, he's still balling.
Yeah, Bryce threw for like 830 yards.
We got hurt, though. I don't know. Is there a Fansville curse?
We'll see. Fansville. We'll see what the Booster Club thinks.
Baby Sawyer's dad said I need to get a Daily Wire shirt that says steroids and fighting.
Yeah,
Steroids
that'd be
and
a
fighting.
great one. That'd be a great one.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not against it, but
Hashtag math and push-ups. Isn't that the same thing?
that should be a thing. That legitimately should be a thing. Let's go to Emmanuel C. says, I feel like the Texans need to claim the rights to the Oilers' names from the Titans. Just name the Houston team the Oilers again to bring back that Texas magic.
I like it, man.
I like
the Oilers.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
you just read that too fast for me. I couldn't understand what you were saying. But you
Oilers. Bring back the Oilers.
Yeah, I still think
Yeah.
your ears are working good enough, to be honest.
No, it's probably my ears.
Starting to get old.
It's
Starting to
well,
get up there.
you're like 4 years younger than me.
It's a long
I mean,
time.
Oilers, great logo, great color scheme. Bring back the Oilers.
I love
the color
the
scheme.
logo.
The environmentalists,
the baby blue, the
will
powder
be upset
blues.
about it.
I could care less.
But I think that's a win.
Yeah, chain yourself
That's
to the
a win,
goalpost. You want to
okay?
get pissed at China.
Make the environmentalists a little bit upset, and don't call roughing the passer.
Speaking of chaining, what about a little J chain right here? Hashtag
But I got
Jay Chain in the chat.
Said, ever had a double cola with peanuts in it and with a moon pie? it's a Tennessee thing. That sounds terrible.
I had a buddy growing up.
I'll try it.
I had a buddy growing up that used to open a can of Coca-Cola, get salted peanuts, and pour the peanuts in the Coca-Cola and drink it.
Okay.
I tried it one time.
Who are you hanging out with?
I'll try it, though. I'll try it. First of all, he had me at moon pie. All right, Tennessee staple. Darby Lou had her first moon pie a couple weeks ago.
Is that a Tennessee staple?
Yeah.
Didn't moon pie like Mardi Gras, back down in Mobile?
I thought moon pie was from Chattanooga.
I'm not 100 on this.
I think the headquarters in Chattanooga.
I love how this
Chattanooga.
Is this show not great? We'll tell you about D-Hop coming back, where moon pies came from,
Look,
why
I'm on
Sunkiss is the best.
I'm on it right now.
Go ahead and dive in there. We got Tom Lugan.
Chattanooga.
Okay, Chattanooga. Cono's right. Of course, Cone knows where moon pie.
You know what? I only know that because when we had
he does.
Facts,
he has a book of stuff you're not old enough to know yet.
Stuff that can't make.
Do you read
money.
books about submarines?
Yeah.
Like my dad?
Yeah.
My dad?
Cone's like, do you know the first bear print was found in Indonesia in 1237
That sounds super nerdy.
by a blind farmer named Tobias.
I don't like that my voice sounds like that, but I would like
No,
that
I wasn't saying your
But I like that I know that stat.
Your voice doesn't sound like that.
Blind farmers, they're important.
Yeah, they are.
What about SBG at that Mexican says, how about them Hurricanes? Big win for the Canes.
Look, somebody's taking them tonight. Somebody's taking
rolling
talking
with the Canes
hockey?
tonight,
We're talking hockey?
We're talking Carolina.
Canes 3-0, boys, I think.
Yeah, well, I know the Flyers, Blaine's team, lost last night to the Panthers.
Look, I'm going through it nuts. The Yankees lost.
Why can't I just call out normal things?
Because you're just trying to hurt me in this.
Hold on, who's calling? Is that insecurity?
It's insecurity, and they're on the phone right now, and they like to talk to you.
It's not they're calling you.
Canes 3-0 at the Oilers tonight, 1-2. You'll see it in my bets. You'll see it.
Raising Cane's also has unbelievably great chicken.
Raising Cane's is awesome. Zaxby's is better.
Guthrie's is better than them all.
That was such an elitist, corporatist thing.
No, it's such a Statesboro thing. I have to ride for Zaxby's.
What, Food Sackley's? You had Food Sackley's?
I don't know. I didn't know for sure.
I go kicking chicken sandwich.
I thought Moon Pie was in Chattanooga. I wasn't sure. I know where Zaxby's is from.
First of all, let's all be honest here. Moon pies aren't good. They're not good. Like, as a guy who's been hit in the face with a lot of moon pies, they're not good.
Take five.
No.
Take five.
No.
Take five.
No, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this. No one really likes moon pies. They're like IPAs.
Can I be honest?
No one really likes them. No one really likes them.
Can I be honest? I don't like moon pies.
They're not good. They're not good.
I don't like them. I don't like them. Well, see, I'm not a marshmallow guy.
You don't like marshmallows.
They don't even taste like marshmallows.
Oh, my God.
That's what
They
it
don't
is.
even taste like marshmallows. I love marshmallows. Moon pies, they're chalkier. They're chalkier than
marshmallows. The biggest part of the moon pie.
But they're chalky. The outside's chalky.
I know it sucks.
You might as well go lick that board up there if you're gonna eat a moon pie.
Like Rice Krispie treat is just enough marshmallow for me to handle.
Watch yourself.
Hey, what did I tell you? Don't look me in the eyes.
Rice Krispie treats. Like, look, don't come in my hair.
You do have an obsession.
Don't come in my hair.
Our Cone will start Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Look,
I don't like.
We don't need.
I start my day. Look, I probably got 10 years left to live. I start my day with an espresso and 2 Rice Krispie treats. All right. That's how I start my day. That's
Nick Saban starts it with 2 pots of coffee and 3 little Debbie's, but he also takes HGH, so maybe you should start doing that.
I've been doing.
All right, one more, and then I want to bring Lugs in here.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
Right. Let's go to a quick question because now we brought this up.
Oh, the chat, I'm sure.
It's nothing. Okay, good, chat. Good. I don't like him either. All right, sweet. He says, why do Tennessee people put peanuts in their sodas? I don't know.
I never have heard of that in my life.
I wouldn't have thought that.
How is that a thing?
I wouldn't have thought that. I don't like
a new
salt. There's
resident. I'm trying to get assimilated. I'll try anything once. If there's a moon pie involved.
You're not putting peanuts in your soda, Dave.
I'm down to try whatever the cultural norm is of the state.
You know what you said right there? You know what? You know I'm proud of you.
What?
You said I'm trying to assimilate.
I'm trying to assimilate to the state and to the new situation.
That in other realms.
To the new situation that we're here now. You know, I'm a Preds fan now.
Me too.
I mean, I'm still pulling for the Braves. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
There's no baseball.
Y'all want a new team to come to Nashville to be fans of?
No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
That's what y'all want.
Here's what we are doing. We're bringing in Tom Luginbill from ESPN to stop your blast.
Bring him in.
All right.
Tom, what is that, my friend?
Yes. I have to weigh in on this.
Yes.
Please.
Moon pies do have chalky marshmallow. That's true.
Thank you.
Okay. It's not like marshmallow puff.
No, they're not peeps. Nobody's accused them of being peeps, Tom. Ain't no peeping around.
There's 2 people I trust in this world. That's John Brinkus and Tom Lugan.
Yeah. So thumbs up or thumbs down, moon pie.
Yeah, good or bad?
Really, we're just here.
It's mid.
We're here. It's mid. Okay.
Does anybody like moon pies? Go ahead.
No, I'll give you another one. This is odd. Now, I'm from the state of California. My wife's from Alabama. All right. I think everybody generally enjoys a good peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Have you ever heard of putting mayonnaise on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Stop it.
Is that a Will Levis thing,
6
or
months
is that
in
a
jail.
real thing?
No.
Putting
my wife
mayonnaise
does it.
on peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, I refuse to try it.
Yeah,
I told her, I said,
Tom.
I'll file papers before I try that.
For sure. I'm out the door. Hey,
that's
hold on. Let me
disgusting.
go get some milk real quick. I'll be right back.
What part of Alabama is she from?
Yeah.
Just outside of Huntsville in Athens,
Okay,
Alabama,
so is my
where
wife.
Philip
Darby
Rivers
Lou.
is from.
Yeah, that's where Philip Rivers is from.
I've heard of people putting bananas on peanut butter sandwiches before.
Have you ever put Doritos on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? You squish them down and crumble them?
No, I have not.
What type of Doritos are we
outstanding.
talking about here, Tom? We talking about the Cool Ranch?
We could go Cool Ranch. We could go
Nacho
chili
cheese?
habanero, nacho cheese, whatever you want to do.
Doritos.
That's a solid one.
I thought you
That's
were
like
against
French
Mama
fries on
Goldberg's
Wendy's
because
Frosty.
of that.
No,
I
I'm
thought
not
you
against.
hated on Mama Goldberg
Tom,
because
one
of the
second.
Doritos.
No, because one, their sandwiches are mediocre. All right, and people keep acting like it's a 5-star place. They get Doritos.
Nobody's
and put it
acting
in the
like it's a 5-star
microwave,
place.
And you would think. I mean, Chef Gordon Ramsay just showed
Nobody's
up.
acting like it's a
And the
5-star
sandwiches,
place.
the biggest thing for me, David,
That's what you
is
don't
the
get.
sandwiches are mid.
No.
Just like Jimmy John's, if I go to a place and
I'm
I can
sorry,
make the
Tom.
same
I
sandwich
apologize,
at the
Tom.
restaurant as in my kitchen, I'm not a huge fan.
How about French fries dipped into a Wendy's Frosty?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Look,
I mean-
to me, that should make you an American citizen.
That's
Even
what-
if you
yeah,
just walked
absolutely.
across here yesterday, I catch you dipping fries in a Frosty. Hey, welcome in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a
You
similar.
just cured
not
the
done
border
that.
crisis.
I mean, that's
Thomas
exactly right.
Jefferson-
You want to fix the southern border? Give me a couple Frosties and a couple bags of fries.
Thomas
We'll do this
Jefferson
right now.
was doing that back in the
Thomas Jefferson, yeah, is the
That's
first
how
one to do
America.
it.
That's what
Sir, this is the
America's
Wendy's.
backbone.
Not a lot of people know this.
is Frosties and
Columbus.
fries. Man.
Yeah, Christopher Columbus, big mayonnaise on peanut butter and jelly guy.
Yeah.
Also,
Hey,
racist.
got to be creamy peanut butter, though, not a big nutty peanut butter.
All right, Tom, let's get to some football. By the way, Mama Goldberg's. Have you had Mama Goldberg's in Auburn? You been there and had Mama Goldberg's?
Oh, yeah.
It's good place, right? Good old school, hole-in-the-wall steam sandwich.
It's a good sandwich place.
It's a
No,
good
it's-
sandwich place.
The atmosphere. is
Anyway,
good.
we're moving on. It's a good
The
sandwich
atmosphere.
place. Thank you, Tom.
Jimmy
for-
John's, you can also
No,
just walk into your
thank you.
kitchen
Thank
and you're
you,
at
Tom.
Mama Goldberg.
Thank you, Tom, for that great take about how Mama Goldberg's a great sandwich place. Speaking about another place that has sandwiches, Tuscaloosa. All right, they host Mississippi State this weekend. Coming off, we always talk about teams that are coming off big wins. You know, maybe there's a letdown the next week. But it's also a lot for a team to come back after a big loss like that. You fought your guts out. To me, it's easier to get those guys up to play the next game than it is the guys who won the game. 21-point favorite at home against a Mississippi State team that played one of their worst games against Kentucky. It seems like Mississippi State is who Mississippi State has been, even with Will Rogers. They're going to win some they're not supposed to. They're going to lose some they're not supposed to. They have struggled like hell in Tuscaloosa, Tom. Do you think Will Rogers and this offense that was stymied in the run game last game can find a way to keep it close against Bama?
Not if they don't have balance. And by the way, 21-point favorite for Alabama. You know why? Because the desert knows what happens to the rest of the schedule when Alabama loses.
That's exactly right.
They go scorched earth on everybody. It's like press the reset button. And I'm not saying that Nick Saban ever values a loss. But for whatever reason, it becomes the single greatest motivational tool that he uses because they boat race everybody. And I don't believe that Mississippi State, as you mentioned, struggles in Tuscaloosa. I think Alabama will dare them to run the football. And then it comes down to Mike Leach's discipline. Now, if you looked at the Mississippi State game versus Arkansas, which was unique, Barry Odom at Arkansas said, okay, we're going to take that 3-man front, drop 8, and we're going to dare them to run it. And guess what? 37 rushes for 170-something yards. Mike Leach actually showed some discipline, took what the defense gave him. I think Alabama will attempt to do the same thing. And then the question is, will Mississippi State actually do it? And then will they be successful when attempting it? I think Alabama will be laser focused this week. They're not a team that traditionally allows one team to beat them twice. So I don't see that happening in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, and I'm wondering when people are going to start playing Tennessee like people play Mississippi State, at least the smart ones. I will dare you to run the ball all the way down the field. You're not going to catch me with my pants down. I'm not going to give you a two-way go. Some people will look at Bama's secondary and have seen the struggles and seen the way Mississippi State can throw the ball, but they're going to play back, keep everything in front. That's why, man, I like the under the more I look at this game. The second one I want to ask you about, I want to go to the Big Ten West here. All right, we talk a lot of the Big Ten East, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. Illinois and Purdue. I know Nebraska's 2-2, but Illinois and Purdue are kind of fighting this thing out. Illinois has a bye week. They end up hosting Purdue. Now, they've got a couple games. You got to go to Michigan. They end the year at Northwestern, who's not a very good ball club. But if you had to right now, knowing that Illinois hosts Purdue, who do you have winning the Big Ten West, Lugs?
Illinois.
I'm with you.
I think Illinois is just playing such good, and I know it's an overused term, but complementary football. The offense feeds off the defense feeds off the kicking game, and they're not a team that beats themselves. Now, are they the most talented team? Of course not. No, they're not. But they're disciplined. I think they know who they are. They're getting the absolute most out of the quarterback position, which we saw fledgling up in Syracuse, New York. So listen, I think that with as inconsistent as Minnesota has become, as inconsistent as Wisconsin has become, you mentioned Northwestern being a poor football team. Purdue can't run the football. Illinois is the most complete team. I think that's what's so shocking about all of this is you look at all those teams, you say, okay, where are the glaring holes? What's really lacking from one team to the next, whether it's Iowa on offense, what have you. You look at Illinois, and it's not just this glaring gap somewhere in their roster. And I think that's why consistency will lead them to the Big Ten West crown.
Yeah, and Bielema and Ryan Walters and those guys, obviously getting the things from the Patriots. You're seeing a lot of one high now. Illinois is good enough in the back end, and Ryan Walters is a hell of a DC. He's going to be a head coach within the next 3 to 5 years. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, let me add to that because just not to get too X's and O'sy here, but what he's done is he's brought the pattern matching.
Yep.
Nick Saban, Bill Belichick stuff. And essentially what that is you're able to play cover 3, have an extra man in the box, but not get beat with 4 verticals, which is a cover 3 single high beater because the strong safety or the weak side linebacker to each side of the overhang, if number 2 receiver goes vertical, instead of just letting them go and getting out to their flat, they carry with it.
Yep.
So you don't
collision
have to
and
alter
carry.
your box numbers.
Yep.
Absolutely. You don't have to alter your box numbers. You look like you have a cover 3 look. Now, are there ways to attack it? Of course there is, but they've had a lot of success implementing that there.
Definitely, and they know who they are. So I'm just, and Chase Brown, I think, is the best player in college football that nobody really knows about. He's going to be a hell of a pro. Somebody's going to get a steal. You'll see at the Senior Bowl during the week of practices. I'm sure he's going to get an invite. We got Jim Nagy coming on, and invites are going out this week, fellas.
This week?
This
nice.
week.
Oh,
I was talking with Jim, and we may have a little surprise coming here for the studio.
I know what you're talking about. Okay.
As well, we're really excited about. But go ahead, Cone. I'll pass
Okay, all right. Tom, number 9, UCLA, unbeaten, goes to number 10, Oregon with 1 loss, but that 1 loss, 49-3 in the opener against Georgia. Do you think UCLA can go to Eugene and steal a win? And does the Pac-12 need to have an unbeaten team to get into the playoff this season?
I do think that they can steal a win, even though Oregon is playing, lights out right now. The hottest team in the league is actually UCLA, and in all the right spots. They're a kind of a very similar version to Utah in terms of where their strengths are in the defensive front. They can run the football. The most dynamic quarterback, I think, in that league, who's an experienced, gritty veteran now that's finally been able to stay healthy, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he gives them a chance. This game, in my opinion, goes deep into the 4th quarter. And it may be one of those games, guys, where a play is going to be made, an explosive is going to be given up, and maybe somebody gets into a bit of a track meet, and then late in the game, it's going to come down to which team makes the fewest errors.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what this will come down to, because the 2 teams are playing so good that at some point or another during that game, somebody will make that one critical error that makes a difference in the football game. I think this is tight. I think it's a pick 'em, if you ask me.
I love UCLA's run game against a little bit of a lackluster young Oregon front 7. I think that's going to be the difference. I just feel like the team that can control the tempo and dictate the pace. I like UCLA in this game. I like UCLA in this game. I like Oklahoma State at home versus Texas right now. That's just right.
And I didn't answer the last part of the question, David. I'm sorry. I didn't answer the last part of the question. Yeah, I actually do. I do believe that. I think even if we have a bunch of one-loss teams at the top, they're all going to be significantly better teams than the team that potentially comes out of the Pac-12 if that team is not undefeated.
Yeah, well, we had an undefeated matchup in the Big House last weekend. The Michigan Wolverines decisively took care of business against Penn State, 416 yards rushing on the ground. The dynamic duo between Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards was really showing. Was Michigan a better football team than we thought, or was Penn State a worse football team than we thought?
That's a good question.
Combination of both, in my opinion. I think that Michigan is showing this year, maybe more so than ever before, the depth that they have established through recruiting. In the sense that, okay, you lose an Aiden Hutchinson, all right? Have we seen any significant drop-off? Are we seeing all
Mike
of a sudden
Morris is a monster.
Yeah, from Belgrade.
Right,
I mean, he's a monster.
Yes, and I look at this football team. They've settled in at the quarterback. I think they've made the right decision there, but they have depth, and they have the type of depth that doesn't allow for a drop-off. And so you couple that with a Penn State team that I think, and I'd seen them in person, I was really impressed with them. And I still think they're a good football team. But what that really shows is just how good Michigan may be. I'm having a hard time trying to decide if I think Clemson or Michigan is the better football team right now. I think that's a difficult decision.
That would
what a
be
game, right?
What a football
war.
game. I can see it playing out right now. And they're both balanced, Tom. They're both balanced football teams, you know? I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
My only thing about this when it comes to UCLA, if we're going to talk about Oregon does have the best rush defense in the Pac-12.
They're just young. UCLA to me with the combination of DTR and Charbonnet are on a different level, and Jake Bobo off the RPO. It's the three-headed monster. Yeah. That's what makes it tough. Oregon's going to know about the run. They are going to be flying downhill. The question is, how will that front seven play off the play action? How will they play off the boot? And are they just going to try and swarm Charbonnet and then DTR takes off for 61 times? Young eyes get you in trouble. Young eyes and fast feet get you in trouble.
That's right. They call those eye violations.
That's exactly right.
I will say this to that statistic. Who is Oregon playing that's lining up and running the ball down people's throats to this point so far?
That's another great point.
You know, I think that's the
Georgia
conference. Yeah, Georgia, right?
Yeah,
Georgia. That's not a conference. I don't always feel like that's a great measuring stick for that conference. It's kind of like the Big 12 having, talking about rush defense. All right, well, who's really lining up and running it down your throat?
Yeah, it's how many hook shots did the Warriors shoot inside the paint? It's kind of like, how many times are you really doing that?
I mean, BYU, Stanford. BYU runs the ball. Stanford's known to run the ball. Yeah. So, I know it's not a huge run.
Stanford's bad.
I know it's not. Well, you can only play who you can play, but I know it's not a huge stat, but it should matter.
Stanford's a bad football team.
Yeah, which shocked me they beat Notre Dame. I was shocked.
And BYU can't run the ball right now. I just had them. I got done watching 3 or 4 games on them. They are really missing Tyler Algier. They are not the same football team on the ground.
I was surprised, too, that Arkansas went over there and beat them up in Provo the way that they did. Arkansas beat them exactly how they wanted to beat them. Like that
one
was
of the greatest games that nobody saw.
I know, and you know what? Before the season, we had circled that one. We circled it, man. Like, because you look at BYU and Arkansas's schedule, holy hell, man. That's just an absolute gauntlet to run.
Let's talk about a little Ole Miss LSU this weekend, Tom. Basically a pick 'em here. I think the spreads started out Ole Miss -2.5, and now it's LSU -1.5. Who do you have winning this game?
Ole Miss by a nose, but not if Jackson Dart doesn't take care of the football. He scares me from a riskiness standpoint because he's so gifted. He knows he's gifted. So he tricks himself into believing he can do things that he shouldn't do. The constant reminder I used to always give guys that I worked with is check downs get first downs.
Yep.
Right? There's nothing wrong with living to play the next down. And if he forces the football, that concerns me. But I think the battle in this game is, can LSU, where the strength of their defense is in the front seven, can they stop what has become an absolute freight train of a run game from Ole Miss?
Yeah.
I think that's really where this game will be won or lost for each team is whether LSU can stop the run. Because if they can't, offensively, LSU's not going to be on the field very often.
Yeah, and if you watch too, Blaine, Jackson Dart has struggled seeing linebackers in pass coverage. Not just the Mike and Wills, but the nickel as well. You go back and watch that Kentucky game. He literally laid the ball in the linebacker's hands twice, and he will take chances trying to fit it in there and fit it right over him in that slot over the linebackers underneath the safety.
Yeah, he does see through people. All right, we got a question here from Flaming Dragons Ankles.
Good. Nice,
how about that? Headshot question for Tom. Says Syracuse has beaten or taken Clemson to the wire in bad years. Why is there so much doubt that this team can pull the upset with actually a pretty legit Syracuse team?
Good question.
I think because it's at Clemson, number one. Number two, this is territory that Syracuse isn't overly familiar with, and it's territory that Clemson makes a living in. And I think that's probably where the two areas that give pause for concern. And listen, everybody could be wrong. I mean, to this point, Syracuse has played better football than the opponent. Have they played a great schedule? Has Purdue turned out to be what people thought? Louisville's the biggest Jekyll and Hyde team in the ACC. It's unreal, right? And so I feel like we know that Syracuse is playing good football. How good of football will they play against an elite caliber of athletes when it comes to total depth, top to bottom? So, for example, Garrett Schrader has played really good ball. And I would argue that Dino Babers made the two greatest assistant coaching hires in all of college football in the offseason, and Robert Anae and Jason Beck. Look at what's happened offensively at Syracuse. Conversely, look what Virginia's turned into offensively. So will Garrett Schrader make critical errors? He hasn't done that to this point, but he also hasn't been going up against a Clemson defense that can completely assault you with their front seven and their pressure packages. So on the road, a quarterback playing red hot in DJ Uiagalelei, a quarterback playing very well in Garrett Schrader, but a team and a quarterback that hasn't been in this moment yet, I think is the reason why people are concerned.
Definitely. Well, Tom, we're never concerned when you come on, my friend. It's always great stuff. We really, really appreciate you. Tell everybody where you're going to be at this weekend.
Oh, I got a good one, boys. I got Texas at Oklahoma State.
Oh,
yes.
I love that. Oklahoma State 6.5. I know you can't really probably opine on it right now, Tom, but Oklahoma State 6.5-point dog at home. Will Craney buy that up to 7.5 and throw the rent on it? I don't know. Let's ask Reed. But Tom, I appreciate it, my friend. We'll get you back next week.
You bet, guys. Thank you.
All right, brother.
Thanks, man.
Our favorite Tom Luginbill. Remember, if you want to watch the rest of the show, you can listen to the rest if you want to stay here. Head over to the Daily Wire Plus. Just check it out. It's like a Chuck E. Cheese for adults, and not in a weird way. Become a member or listen on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share it with your friends. We're the sports show you've been looking for. We're just glad you found us. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you're still on YouTube. If you're watching us on the Daily Wire Plus, we appreciate you. You guys are the reason for the season. Without you, there is no us. And speaking about you, Blanasium Booster Club.
Yeah, let's go to Troy Jacobs here. But first, did you give yourself your own nickname over there?
What did I say?
Craney?
I like it.
I'm going to start calling
down
you
with it.
No,
Craney.
don't.
I'm going to start calling you that.
No.
Let me write that down.
Yeah, go ahead and put that
All
there.
right, we'll start making up nicknames. Okay.
Well, you gave it to
So
yourself.
you made your own.
Yeah, you made up your own nickname.
Nah.
What do you mean?
Nah.
Craney's going to put the red on.
Craney. Don't like it.
I like
Throw
it.
away.
All right,
Throw
Troy
away.
Jacobs says, hey, Jake and Blaine.
Hey, Troy.
Sorry, Cone.
Wow, Troy.
I'm in the process of making my game day sign this morning. Love it. I apologize. I just can't use those Auburn colors. I hope you forgive me. You should just get a picture of my face.
Look, that's
And put it
okay. Forget the colors. What are you putting on the sign?
That's what
I think he tweeted
Not my
what he's
face.
putting on the sign. Put my face on
Put
the
my
game day
face
sign.
on.
That's fine. That's right.
Do I need to give Troy a War Eagle or something to get some love in the chat?
You can't root for Bama and
Huh?
It's just the way the road.
Okay,
You know.
good.
You know.
Yeah,
I'm glad you didn't put me in that
Yeah, if
compromise.
you do that 3 times, it creates like a time
you're
warp.
really going to be in a bind here pretty soon.
I'm already in a bind.
You're-
I'm getting married to a bind.
Yeah, you're in a just bundled up.
That's exactly.
You might pay for that later. All right, let's go to Kendrick Washington. Says, what does Tom think about TCU versus K-State? Tom's gone, guys. What do we think?
Hold on real quick. What does Tom think?
Tom.
He likes TCU.
Tom.
Yeah, Kansas State. Okay, we saw them go and stifle Oklahoma. They always do this. They've done this since Bill Snyder was there, all 312 years that he coached there. They go in and try and shut you down, but I'm just looking at this TCU offense and this wide receiver room and the experienced quarterback, and it's at home. Give me the Horned Frogs, maybe big. I love Adrian Martinez. It's a great story. You look at him, Bo Nix, Hendon Hooker, great examples of the good side of the transfer portal, right? Working out for the quarterback and stuff like that. I just feel like TCU's too much on offense.
Give me Kansas State, and you know why? Because I said they would win 2 conference games in the preseason. They're proving me wrong, and the only way I can make up for it is now to just say they're going to win every game.
That's good. What? No, now you'll make the promo reel about talking good about them.
Yeah,
I know, it'll be the opposite.
That's why I'm rooting for the Yankees to lose, because I want, well, just in general, but I also want Blaine to make that video at the Yankees Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about it because I get upset.
I know you do.
They're going to win tonight, though.
Treachery.
Is that a microaggression?
They're going to win tonight, Blaine.
Treachery. Like, keep me on the debate stage with them.
Yeah, I love it.
Give me on the
just
debate.
versus the Yankees?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, Brent, I'll fight Aaron Judge. What's up?
Casher, let's do it.
The Tin Pianist.
Nice.
All right, says, hashtag Ask Crane and Company. All right, it says, which college quarterback will transition the best to NFL and succeed?
In this
Great
class, I mean, how do you not say Bryce Young?
It's Bryce Young.
I mean, Bryce Young's a
I'm
witch.
telling you, this kid,
Hendon's awesome. Hendon is awesome.
Hall of Famer.
Bryce Young is
Hall of Famer?
Bryce Young.
Bryce Hall
Bryce
of
Young will
Famer?
end up being a Hall.
Can we go ahead and call Bryce Young what he is? He's a ninja.
He's the GOAT.
No, he's a ninja.
Yeah.
He's a ninja.
He's Steph Curry.
He's 100% ninja. You know, like, he's probably one of those people that can, like, knock the candle out or, like, in the light off the candle. Like,
Oh, you're talking like wind.
Yes, like, he's an airbender. Dude's a ninja, okay? 100%. I would not be shocked if it came out a year from now. They're like, hey, and I did a show with Bryce. Talked to Bryce. He's a great guy. Craig's a great guy. I would not be surprised if he grew up in a dojo. Like, no shoes, like, just doing cartwheels and stretching. They're throwing things at you. You're making a miss. Like, I really believe he's a ninja, 100%. Like, if Bryce Young came in here and started crawling up the wall, I'd be like, makes sense.
But he would do it so subtly.
He would do it so subtly.
You know,
you want to take Putin
wouldn't
out?
brag
You
about
want to
it.
take Putin out? Put Bryce Young in all black, drop him out of a plane, give him a week. He'll be back. He'll be back. Just drop back and chop his head off. Pretty simple.
There you go.
Careful with that Putin stuff. I don't need anything like, I don't need any guided missiles coming here.
Well, we're not live on
You
the
said
air
it
or
twice.
anything, so.
Yeah, I mean, you said it twice.
Look, we ain't scared.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not scared.
I ain't
Just,
scared.
like, we don't got a lot of defenses here. You know, I don't know if there's like a turret.
Yeah, we're in the United States. We have
You
some
know who
defenses.
runs this country?
Yeah, I know. We have defenses, though.
All right, let's
I don't
go
think
to
they're
Alex
trying to
Connors, who says, which has brought more parity, the transfer portal or better coaching around the league?
It's the transfer portal. I think the transfer portal's done more for, and Blaine, again, I'll go back. This is the smartest thing I've ever heard you say. There's more teams now in the middle class of college football because of the transfer portal, because it's like a food chain, right? The guys at the top are going to get richer. Bama's going to get Jahmyr Gibbs. They're going to get Eli Ricks, stuff like that. Oregon's going to get Bo Nix. But it's that second drop. It's those group of 5 teams or those fledgling lower power 5 teams. They're able to get that backup quarterback that's a really good player but was in front behind a Heisman candidate or a top shelf quarterback. I mean, Garrett Schrader goes from Mississippi State, where he wasn't going to play quarterback. They tried to move him to receiver. Goes to Syracuse to play quarterback. Look at Syracuse right now. And it's great for Mississippi State, too. You got Will Rogers. And then below that, it's just an absolute chain of people getting better from the top to the bottom. There are some sides of the portal, which we've talked about, that I'm not a huge fan of, but that is one good part of it. It is because of the portal.
All right, Baby Sawyer's dad says Big Ten's top 2 teams are better than the SEC's top 2. If not, those games would be awesome.
Again, I struggle to say that because I just feel like what we've seen over time, and I'm not a huge trends guy. I know every year is different and every team is different. I think Georgia and Tennessee right now, which in my opinion, you have to say the 2 best teams in the SEC. I think you can. Argument for Alabama. I know it was on the road in Knoxville. I know they had a ton of penalties, but you did lose that game. If Georgia played Ohio State and Tennessee played Michigan, it'd probably be a split. I think it'd be a split.
You think so?
I think
what was the statement?
The top 2 teams in the Big Ten are better than the top 2 teams in the SEC.
Oh.
You don't think they're better? It'd be great games. I think the 2 teams in the SEC, you go 2-0.
You think they go 2-0 and you think they split? I think the Big Ten would be happy with a split.
Yeah.
In that scenario.
I would be very, very interested. And you could flip them. Tennessee versus Ohio State, Georgia versus Michigan. I think you'd have a better chance at a split if it was Ohio State.
That'd be a little more interesting because I think Michigan and Georgia mirror each other a little bit,
there's
even though
Spider-Man, Jeff.
last playoff.
Well, I will say, I think both of these offenses, especially Georgia's, is a little more open this year than what it was last year. I mean, you are seeing some more. And, you call it 11 personnel, but they'll put Brock Bowers out there in the slot. I mean, 11 personnel, 12 personnel for Georgia's really 11 personnel.
Because
11
he's a wide
personnel is
receiver.
really 10
Sure.
personnel.
No, I get what you're saying.
But you're 100% right.
Yeah.
What they want to do.
Well, they both are so balanced to me, but when I look at the Buckeyes and when I look at Tennessee, they're not quite as balanced because their offenses are so explosive. So how good can their defenses be? I mean, we just saw it. Give up 49 points to Alabama, but who cares if you score 52, So I don't know. I think they'd be great ball games.
No, for sure. All right, let's go back to Troy here. He's kind of gave us a response. He says, one, he's going to have Crane and Company wants more David Pollock endorsed by #the Booster Club on his sign.
That's awesome.
And he said, Cone, the only reason your name wasn't in there because it was just Auburn related.
Oh, okay. All right.
Good.
You know what? He's
can
looking
see
out for me because he knows Darby Lou's probably in the chat, not trying to put me in a bind. But hey, I love Auburn, man. I love going to Auburn.
Oh, I don't want to digress here too much, but I want tomorrow to talk about something that Joel Klatt said, which I got a lot of respect for Joel Klatt. I think Joel Klatt does a really good job. Just like I think Danny Cannell does a good job. Do they not live in reality when it comes to the SEC? No, they don't. But he said something yesterday, and I think this is a point that college football fans and football fans in general, I really want to drive home. I don't want to do it too much on this one, but he talked about how, when the Big 12 there was 101 total points combined and over 1,000 yards in a game, it's because they just weren't good defenses. But in the SEC, that's just fine now. You're still a really good team. I feel like that comment is trying to live in two different eras when the game has changed so much. I mean, look at the Big 12 now. They're a defensive conference at the top. The game changes. It evolves. It's cyclical. The rules have changed, and the rules help the offense. I don't think anybody will dispute that. That's something I want to opine with on tomorrow. I may lead the show with it.
Yeah, and what disproves that the most is when they meet in the playoffs, teams from the SEC and Big 12, right? Even you saw the Georgia and Oklahoma shootout.
What team from the Big 12 in the playoffs? Oklahoma is the only one.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about, that shootout in the Rose Bowl with Georgia. Even though it turned into that type of game, Georgia won the football game.
And Big 12's like 21-33 against the SEC in bowl games, which bowl games that don't matter, it's hard to count those even some top Big 12 teams that have players opt out. It's just a different world. I'm going to explain to Joel Klatt what I think about that, but I do like Joel.
Well, it's the definition of you're reaching.
Yeah. Oh, you're reaching really hard.
You're reaching.
You're Craig Elo right now.
Let's go to Kedrick Washington, #as Crane and Company. Will Levis or AR-15 in the NFL? Who would you take?
I like Will Levis. I think Will Levis is a good player. I do not think he is what everybody else thinks he is. I do not think he is this guy. He's Daniel Jones to me. That's a little more athletic. That's who he is to me, even though Daniel's having a good year with the Giants. I don't think he is this superstar. The potential of Anthony Richardson, the thing that hits you in the back of the mind, if you're a GM or you're a scout or you're somebody that's in charge of making these decisions is, will I want to jump off the Brooklyn Bridge if we don't choose him and he reaches his potential? Because his potential is probably further reaching than anybody else of any position in this draft coming up. The question is, can he get there? Can he get to that spot? Are you willing to take that risk? If it was me, it's all about the roster. Do I have an older quarterback that we're not going to be relying on for too much longer, that Anthony Richardson can learn behind? I think that would be the perfect situation. I do not think, and it's never good to throw a guy right into the fire, but especially with Anthony Richardson, I don't think he's a guy you throw into the fire right away. I'll be very interested to see, especially moving forward when you look at these draft boards, which GM is going to take that chance, because one of them is going to with Anthony Richardson, and they're either going to strike gold or they're going to fall flat on their face. I don't know if there's a ton of middle ground there with Anthony Richardson.
I like that. I think he's right.
All right, let's go to Pinky and the Cranium. How about that?
I love that.
All right, it says the NFL has scored 22 less points to this point in this year rather than last year. Why do you think the NFL is scoring less points this year?
I think it's a combination of things. I think you are looking at a lot of quarterbacks that have been beat up and offenses that have been beat up at the highest level. Even though Cooper Rush has done a good job for the Cowboys, you look at the Chargers, no Keenan Allen. We saw OBJ out there that can come help a team. The Bucks have been beat up. It seems like at the most important offensive positions, we have seen a ton of injuries. And to be honest with you, I don't think the quarterback play's been very good this year. I think there's a reason Tom Brady, when they asked him about what he was seeing, it said he looks like bad football. I think the quarterbacks have had somewhat of an off year to start. Injuries can have something to do with that, but it has been a slower NFL start offensively than what we're used to seeing, because typically what happens is when you're practicing early, the defense is ahead of the offense and the offense catches up. Early in the season, in the NFL, it's different than college. These guys have played a lot of football. They're not worried about playing in the game. They're not worried about, I'm super duper nervous before every game. There's a little bit of nerves and anxiety, but these are professionals, and they'll throw the whole playbook out the first couple weeks. Typically, you see the offenses jump out early and the defenses adjust, whether that's seeing the RPO bleed into the NFL, whether that's seeing a little bit of tempo bleed into the NFL, whether that's seeing some new combinations and a new way to do things or weird motions like you get from Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid for the Chiefs. We just haven't had that this year.
All right, David, sweet baby gang for life.
Sweet baby gang.
Georgia and Michigan's offenses are not elite. If Tennessee or Ohio State score 40, they beat Georgia and Michigan.
I disagree with that. I think that we're looking at Tennessee and we're looking at the Buckeyes. We're looking at some of these offenses. Just like what Jake was just saying, just because you're scoring a lot of points doesn't necessarily make you a great offense. There are different ways to be a great offense, I think, is what I'm trying to get at. Especially when you look at Michigan running the football. I'm telling you, I've watched every snap of them for the last 15 years. This is as good as I've seen them in the run game. Blake Corum reminds me so much of Mike Hart. So when you run the football that much and you're effective, what does it do, Jake? It shortens the football game. You're staying in bound. You're getting fewer possessions. And guess what? Your opponent is getting fewer possessions too. So Michigan would love to win a football game 28-18 rather than 52-49. That is staying with their identity. I think the same thing right now could be said of Georgia as well.
Here's the thing I will say. Tennessee has a more elite offense right now, in my opinion, than Georgia or Michigan. Not by a lot, but Georgia and Michigan have more elite teams than Tennessee has. Georgia and Michigan are more balanced than Tennessee is. Georgia and Michigan can run the ball better than Tennessee can. So what does that mean? That means I can dictate the pace. That means I can dictate the tempo. That means I can keep Hendon Hooker on the sideline. I can keep Keaton on the sideline. I can keep Cedric Tillman on the sideline and run the ball and be methodical and take you out of your game and dribble with the left. Just because you go faster or just because you do more things that are eye candy-ish, that are fun to look at, that are different than what we're normally seeing when teams line up and run the power and the boot and stuff like that, doesn't mean that you are shoulders above everybody else offensively. I would say I would take right now, until teams start playing Tennessee like they play Mississippi State and daring Tennessee to run the ball 60, 70% of the time during a drive, which I think Hendon Hooker and them would have trouble doing because OCs and quarterbacks are the greediest people on the planet, and Josh Heupel's an offensive guy, quarterback, national champion winner at Oklahoma. I feel like when Tennessee, if somebody adjusts to Tennessee, or Tennessee's offense just has a good game, not a great game, are they a good enough team to beat Georgia and Michigan? Maybe. I would take Georgia and Michigan over Tennessee.
Here's one of the things I would be worried about if Michigan were to line up against Tennessee right now. Michigan's defense has gotten better every single week, and that's great. They've exceeded expectations. But if Will Anderson and that Alabama defense couldn't keep Hendon Hooker and the Tennessee offense in check, then I would be a little bit worried, especially in the secondary right now for Michigan's defense. And here's why. Let's say you get out to an early deficit. Michigan's down 10-0 to Tennessee early, right? They're down 14-0. Would Michigan be able to stick with their identity of running the football, or would they try and get J.J. McCarthy to get him out of a bind and start throwing the football all over the yard? That's one of the things we haven't been able to see from Michigan yet this year. How will they respond if they're down 10, if they're down 14? Would their offensive identity change? Because when Tennessee played Georgia last year, I think you even said, Tennessee, don't be surprised if Tennessee gets out to an early start. Yep. Don't be surprised if it's 7-0. You may have even said don't be surprised if it's 10-0, something like that. But Georgia will become gravity over time. They will beat Tennessee in the second quarter and then on in the second half, and it'll turn into a blowout. Would the same thing be true of Michigan if Tennessee got out to a 10-point lead? That's what I question.
Yeah, I mean, last year, Georgia, they'd kill you like a python. They weren't a quick strike cobra. All of a sudden, you're dead in 2 minutes. They're going to take you, they're going to bring you up in the tree, and they're going to suffocate you to death. And then the fourth quarter, they're going to eat you. Is that a little brutal to think about? Yes, but that's really what happened.
Well, the thing about, I would say it's about, I think Heupel does a great job actually running the ball. I don't think Heupel gets greedy. I mean, you go back to the Alabama game, they ran it 40 times.
Well, I think Hendon,
they're a better running team. They're a better running team than Georgia.
Tennessee?
So, yeah.
I don't believe that.
I don't know
statistically,
about
they're a better running team than Georgia.
Well, I think they passed to run. I think
that's what I was
Georgia
gonna
Well,
say.
still,
That's what I was gonna
yeah,
say.
that's fine.
That's
But
mistake.
as a running team, I mean, they racked up 190 yards against Bama. Hell, they ran the ball 40 times.
Yes, because Bama
it's
was-
pick your poison. Josh Heupel will run the ball if he has to run the ball. We've seen him do it.
Well, Hendon Hooker being able to run the way Hendon Hooker runs is huge for Tennessee. He's able to keep his own read and really threaten that backside in. The question becomes, okay, what happens when the pass game isn't working to be able to set up the run and teams start to say, okay, Tennessee, if you are going to beat us, you are going to beat us on the ground. Will they do it for 4 quarters?
Well,
we
if you
haven't
make
seen
any
that.
team one-dimensional, then yeah, I get it.
That's exactly the point. I think that's why I said I think Georgia and Michigan are more balanced on offense overall, more balanced as a team offensively and defensively than Tennessee is.
I don't see how they're more of a balance of an offense when Tennessee's literally.
I think he's saying a balanced team in terms of offense and defense. Not necessarily balanced
we said offense running the ball. That's
Yeah, I'm talking about
the balance on offense.
So let me ask you this: do you think Tennessee runs the ball better than Georgia?
Yes.
I don't agree with that. They go about it different ways.
Statistically, Tennessee runs the ball better than Georgia. They average more on the ground.
How many attempts? How many times do they run the ball a game compared to what Georgia? That can be misleading. What I'm saying is, if Georgia runs the ball 45 times a game, and Tennessee runs the ball 20 times a game, those numbers at the end.
Okay. No. Tennessee's attempts are 261 attempts running. Georgia's is 246.
Okay, there you go.
All right.
There you go. All right, that stat makes a whole lot more sense to me than just using one that is the secondary option of what that offense does. Tennessee wants to pass to run, but we also got to remember this too. How many more plays does Tennessee run with that tempo than Georgia runs? That's what we need to look at. Tennessee is trying to run 100 plays a game. Georgia, while they'll go up tempo sometimes, is running a much slower, methodical pace. So that's why I always say stats they're like a good trailer for a movie. They can show you what it's kind of about. They give you an inkling of what's going on, but they don't tell the whole story. Just like total yards are one of the biggest misconceptions in stats because, again, a lot of teams can move the ball in between the 20s. Are you scoring touchdowns when you get in the red zone, or are you kicking field goals? That's the stat that matters the most. But speaking about stats, 1-1 last night. Want to give a shout-out to the Astros for hitting on the run line with plus money. Georgia State, you go up 14-0. I got you a +8 at +100. You go up 14-0, then you just totally forget. You just totally forget. You let App State back in the game. It's 14-7 at halftime. They kick your ass in the second half. Never believe in you again. We'll never believe in you again. What gives me solace, though, is we used to beat y'all to sleep at South Alabama. We'd drive to Atlanta, beat y'all to sleep. Y'all'd come to Mobile at Ladd. We'd beat y'all to sleep. Y'all were our whipping boys anyway, so it doesn't matter. Tonight, let's go to the Sun Belt again. All right? Troy, South Alabama.
They're playing tonight?
They're playing tonight. This is for the Sun Belt West, dog.
Really?
It's coming down to it. South Alabama may sneak in the Access Bowl. They win this one. Look, Troy's got a really good defense, all right? They've had 2 quarterbacks. Quarterback got beat up last game. The backup came in, played really well. Troy's offense, not great. Give me the under here. I like South to win. The defense has kind of been hit or miss for South Alabama a little bit. Give me the under here at 46.5. I think this is going to be a low-scoring, ugly, old-fashioned Sun Belt fist fight. And then D-Hop's coming back. Let's make it rain, Kyler Murray. Get off the Xbox and into the game. Give me the Cardinals -2.5 at home at -115. So that's the under in USA and Troy at 46.5, and the Cardinals -2.5 at -115.
So we have college football tonight. Thursday night football.
Yes.
We have NHL on.
Yes.
Major League Baseball playoffs.
Yes.
The NBA games.
Yes.
What more could we ask for, boys?
Man,
Give me the
a
Yankees
kiss
money
on the
line.
cheek and a cold beer.
I
That's
hit
it.
with the Astros last night. I think the Yankees bounce back. Blaine, give me the Yankees money line and plus money, +135. And then I'm going back to the ice. We've already started, I want to say we've started hot, but we're still on the ice.
We're icy
You see what I
hot.
mean? We're icy hot. That's the thing. We started icy hot
That cold-
in hockey, 1-0. I want to go with the Canes money line at +100. They are on the road at the Oilers, but the Canes are 3-0, boys.
You'd love to see it. All right, let's go. I'm going to go, look, Hop's back, guys. Over 60.
Bet buds?
60.5 receiving yards. Kyle, you walk around a little bit back there. Let's find Hop. Let's find him early. First pass, I want it to Hop.
Yeah.
Got to be the Hop. But then I'm going to take the Cards. I think the Cards win this game. Saints are beat up in the secondary, beat up the quarterback position. I do think Alvin's going to have a good game.
I hope not.
Great Giants. So give me the Cardinals -2.5, winning by a field goal.
All right, Baby Cone. He wants a Hopkins anytime touchdown at a smooth +110. And look at the Stars money line. He wants the Dallas Stars +135 tonight. So like every sport that's ever been played is on tonight. So get ready for that. Real quickly. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, so you guys have Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, and Alvin Kamara in your fantasy matchups tonight?
You have
Anyone
anybody
else playing?
I got Kyler, and that's it.
We got Cooper Kupp and Jalen Hurts are out this week. Some guys got to step up.
What?
Yeah, some guys got to step
It's
up.
like Derrick Henry was out for me last week, just killed me.
Who do you have
Killed
out
me.
this week?
Nobody.
Oh. Is there a brotherly wager?
I think Jake's
Yeah.
going through too much. Right?
No.
To be honest.
No, there's going to be a wager.
You're running out of time.
It'll be announced tomorrow.
No,
After
no, it's the
Thursday
start.
night
The game's already started. You can't announce a wager after
We
the
each
game's
have one
already
player
started.
playing, right?
I have 2 players playing.
Who's your other player?
Alvin Kamara and DeAndre Hopkins.
All right, think of something real quick.
No wager this week.
No,
You
we'll
got
tweet
got
out a
enough going
wager.
on.
We'll tweet out a
gotta
wager.
eat
Well, I got a
wager.
better. I got the same record as you, and it's not going to be that way after this week.
You got to eat a chip, put a straight jacket on. I feel like you're going.
Yeah. Well, why don't you make a bet with somebody?
Huh?
At least we're man enough to make bets with people.
I made
You won't
bets.
even
Me
do
and
it.
Cone made a bet. I tried to make bets. They didn't make bets with me. So
Oh,
what's
so
the
they'll
one
make
we
bets with us, but not
What else
you.
you want
That
me to
makes
do?
a lot
Want
of
me to
sense.
force them to make a bet?
That makes a
This isn't
lot of
Russia.
sense.
Like they have to agree to make a bet.
Okay.
Stop talking about Russia, remember?
Yeah.
Well, look, I didn't say that guy's name
Contradictions
twice.
are fun.
The one who won't be named?
Yeah, I'm scared to drink
by
my
the way-
Mountain Dew now.
By the way, we have a brand new tracking system we are unveiling for the Booster Club bets. It's better than Doppler radar, so just trust me on that. We're going to unleash that next week. We've done the science, we've done the math, and we put it together.
Was it a pie in the face? Was that this? Did we make that?
We
bet?
said pie in the face.
Pie in the face.
Pie in the face.
Pie in the face.
That's right. That's the bet.
fine.
Pie in the face.
That's not a punishment to me. Look, if it's a good pie,
I'm going to
it's a
hit
good
Conan in the
pie.
face
Eat
with
it
a
up.
pie every morning.
Go to pie.
I'm just going to get whipped
Go-to
cream
pie,
and put it in one of those
chocolate chess.
tinfoil
Chocolate.
circles.
Go to pie.
Ah, pecan.
Big apple pie guy. All right, let's go to which soda is goated.
All right.
All right, Pepsi,
Look, you know what the answer
Coke,
is, man.
Yeah.
or Dr Pepper.
Dr. Pepper. All
What
right.
percentage you
Wow.
put
We
on?
get Larry Culpepper in here and tell us.
Dr. Pepper, yeah, let's go.
Dr. Pepper, yeah, Larry
yeah.
Culpepper. Dr. Pepper, 62%.
Coca-Cola, 54%.
I'm on the train with you on this one. Coke's the best. Dr Pepper, 53%.
Y'all like Dr.
Coke,
Pepper the best?
37%
That's
Pepsi.
disgusting.
Well, they must
It's a licorice form.
what that
It's
gets?
liquid licorice is what it is. And it's
I
disgusting.
really don't think it's that good.
It's not that good.
I really just don't think it's that good.
Professor Pepper's so much better.
No.
Oh, the best. Professor
Dr. Bob?
Pepper?
You talking about Dr. Bob, the
Talking about
knockoff?
Dr.
Dr. Bob?
Dr. Bob?
It's a compact spot.
Cut that out.
These are compact. Hey, guys, the line's in shambles. Let's
Yeah.
get it together.
All
Everybody.
right, real quick, the 10-inch pianist.
Whoa.
Nice.
Whoa.
Look. Hey, I said that right. All right, first of all, I said I took my time
Living
on
the
that.
edge.
Like, trust me in clutch moments, I promise you.
Wow, talk about good
Hashtag
hands.
Ask Crane and Company. We taking Bailey Zapia or Cooper Rush?
I'm taking Bailey.
Give me Bailey. He's like 14.
Yeah.
For fantasy football or for the
Just in
future?
general.
Oh,
I like Bailey Zapia.
Give me Zapia.
Yeah, I agree. Zapia.
Throw 62 touchdowns.
All right, we sound like Gaston off Beauty and the Beast. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check out all our content. Follow us on social media: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Face Snap, Chat, Book,
Face, back face.
Back Face, Face Back. Follow us on all social medias. We appreciate you guys, and like the chances of the Saints starting me at quarterback tonight, we're going, gone.